Are you a healthcare marketer looking for work right now? Well, if you are, and if you're a marketer working at a provider organization, you'll want to watch this entire video because it is an inspiring story of a marketer who took the leap of faith and is trying a role in a completely different part of healthcare. You're about to watch a conversation with Chris Pace, Vice President of Healthcare Industry at SearchStax. He's going to share his journey from years at a provider organization to now being a healthcare marketer at a vendor. Some would say he's joined the dark side, but watch, and Chris just might change your mind by the end of this video. Let's get to it.
Sway help.
Chris, welcome back to the program.
Hello, hello, hello. So good to be here.
It is so good to see you, my friend. It's been a while since we last connected, and I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing you on the conference circuit at some point. I miss seeing you, but this is great, and I'm excited to sit down with you today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Now, Chris, right off the bat, I have to start with this. Since the last time we spoke, you have crossed over to the other side, so to
I
speak.
have.
You are now with a healthcare vendor.
I
Can you
am.
can you
Yes.
walk us through that transition? Like, what's it like? How's it been?
Yeah. How's it going? How it started, how it's going, as the kids say. So yeah, I had a change in my bingo card for 2025, as a lot of people that are listening probably saw back in April. And I was at Banner Health for a long time. And I've worked in that provider side of the healthcare space for uh, the bulk of my career. And so when I was trying to think about like what does next look like, the one thing that did not cross my mind was working in the vendor space. I had not considered that. And interestingly enough, because I've had this type of role at Banner, I've had a luxury of engaging with and working with some really great SaaS companies and solutions companies over the years. And one was SearchStax. And so when word got out that I was leaving, they reached out and said, "Hey, what would you think about coming to work with us?" Because I had done some really cool stuff with them over the years. And so I thought about what does it look like for Chris to be on the other side and, sort of represent an industry facing category and still stay connected with the people that I've grown to call friends, someone like you that I get to run into at the conferences. And so, I spent some time talking about it. I'd chat with my wife and chat with, some mentors and peers, and it just all made sense. And, one thing I recognized was all those years working in the healthcare space and working for Banner, working for Dignity, unbelievable work, meaningful work, great teams, but man, I was burned out. I mean, it was just a lot. It's an industry that goes through a lot of change and has a lot of things in the way, a lot of headwinds, as they say. So, um, while my role at SearchStax is industry facing, I understand. Like I'm sort of that empathetic person on the inside of a tech company that can speak the language and connect at a very meaningful level and go through the frustrations, have those almost like therapy sessions with folks and talk about those challenges and how to creatively solve them. And so the way I rationalized it was, man, I could help a lot of people and inherently help a lot of patients along the way, because at the end of the day, it's all about getting access to care and making healthcare easier.
I love it. I love it. And so just to highlight a couple of things from that, your journey with this company started before you had the transition happen. Like you were working with this company before they knew you, you knew them, and so when they kind of put the opportunity forward, it sounds like it was you were at least had some familiarity with what they did, and you had done some cool projects together. So
Yeah. And
that
that's super important to me because, the thing that matters to me more than you know, money or I mean, money matters. I mean, obviously, we don't do this stuff for free. Most of us don't. But I want to believe in the product. I want to believe in the culture of the organization. I want to like who I work with. We spend just as much time working and sometimes more time working than we do sleeping. And I love to sleep. So I better love to work. And this is very important to me. So, I got to know the team through the relationship with Banner. I grew really close bond with the CMO that I report to now, Naja Gauzi. And I mean, it's just been such a good fit, and I'm really happy. And I think, when you put good forward, which I try to do, I try to resemble somebody that I would be proud of. And so putting forward, giving more than I get in return, this was a rare chance for me to actually sort of collect on that, so to speak, and it worked out. And I feel like, when you do good, you get good,
That's awesome. That's that. And in fact, the Sway ethos that we have, right? The Sway health ethos: give before you get, right?
right?
Be a good
Yeah.
custodian, all those kinds of things. Now, I was remiss. I should ask you this off the top. So, can you tell us a little bit about what SearchStack does, just so people have that context?
Yeah, for sure. I'll keep it brief. You can go to searchstax.com and learn all about it. Follow me on LinkedIn, you'll get all the deets. But think about the search bar on your website. And in healthcare, there's a ton of search bars. There's one for doctor finding, there's one for locations, there's one for your blog, there's one for conditions and treatments, there's one for classes and events, one for jobs. And it's just like, it's sheer chaos. Imagine going from like a Google search that has Gemini AI summary kind of guiding you through. I ask a question, I get an answer. Super easy now. And then you somehow land on your healthcare website, your hospital's website, and you're like, okay, well, I just came here from this search that was super easy and informative. Now what do I do? And the tendency is, well, we're all trained in e-commerce, so you go up to the top right. There's got to be something up there that guides me, either a search bar, shopping cart, whatever. And so when you click on that search bar, you start typing out, hey, maybe that search from Google that brought you to the site in the first place. I have this rash and I don't know what to do with it. Who should I talk to? Type that into your search. You're going to get a blog about probably mental health because it's about talking to somebody. You're going to maybe get something on dermatology. You'll probably get nothing on doctors or locations that service this issue that you have. And you just get frustrated and probably pick up the phone and make a call to the call center and ask that same question to a human being. And that phone call costs your health system $10, $20, depending on how you're staffed and sourced. So all that wasted energy and time and friction cause a disruption in that buyer's journey. And so SearchStax basically puts in the hands of the marketers control of the search bar. It allows you to tie in disparate search resources into one, and it will allow you to, get insights on what the behavior is of the searcher, so that you might need to create new content. You might need to connect different experiences that you haven't connected yet. And you can iterate and evolve over time and learn from the behavior that the searcher is telling you, rather than looking at like your analytics platform or like all these siloed insights things that have no connection to reality. So that's really the key benefit, is making search behave on your website like it does everywhere else that your customers, consumers, patients are engaging with digital platforms.
And so first of all, that sounds fantastic. And second of all, I think anyone listening to this, it would be very, very clear to them the passion you have for this. Like just the way you're speaking about that solution, Chris. I mean, it's very clear this is something that's been a pet peeve, something you are looking forward to solving for patients. And I think it's awesome because you're right. I mean, you have this lovely experience before arriving onto most provider websites, only to be faced with an older style of search, and then you can't find it, and then what happens, you leave, right? You go and find care somewhere else, which obviously doesn't have help that provider, or worse yet, you decide not to do nothing about it, which harms yourself. So I love it.
Yep.
So let's just go back to that transition though. Um, was there how big is that adjustment for you right now? And going from provider side to vendor side, has it been jarring? Has it been enlightening? Do you have a lot of empathy now for both sides?
I do, yeah. I mean, so the big difference is big company, small company. And I don't think this is like, SearchStax versus Banner. Like this is anywhere. Like big companies are tough to navigate. There's a lot of decisioning by committee. There's a lot of red tape and siloing and all the things. And then going to a small company, you don't have a lot of that. I mean, there's a singular purpose. There's a singular focus, and there's a drive to have success, whatever those org's goals are. So working for a small company, you do get that advantage. The one thing I really enjoyed in my time at Banner and at Dignity Health was mentoring and leading teams. And so that I right now I've an individual contributor role at SearchStax. I have an awesome marketing team that I work with, which is fantastic. And so I'm learning to use some of the skills that I've developed as a leader over the years to help shape and influence, from like an adjacent point of view and a peer point of view, rather than, sitting through those very HR heavy guidelines on, going through quarterly reviews and doing all those assessments all the time. So it's fun because I still get to, teach and mentor, but then I also get to learn a lot because, you know, this is a different space. It's a B2B company. It's selling a technology. There's AI involved because what in 2025 wouldn't have AI involved? And so, I get to absorb all that, but at the same time, give back, what I know and my expertise and my perspective on things as a former customer and as, a healthcare subject matter expert.
One of the reasons, Chris, that I wanted to get together with you, other than the fact I just wanted to see you, let's be honest, it was because there's a lot of people, especially provider side marketers right now, who are going through some of the challenges around downsizing, budget cuts, burnout, just, getting frustrated with wherever they are, and looking to make a move, whether that's to a vendor or not, but just making a move from where they are. Given that you've just gone through that, what advice would you have for those folks that are in that situation right now? Your former peers, if you will, right? On the provider side.
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of there's comfort in knowing what you know, and sort of with that comes a bit of complacency. And for those that have recently had an event happen to them where they're searching for a role, I think there's always ways to find good and connect value and what you can deliver and what the offering is outward facing. So I would say don't be afraid of it, but what I did that helped me was I asked a ton of questions. I reached out to friends that I know that have made the transition. Ben Seiden from Salesforce is one that I reached out to him it's actually at HMPS, where I last saw you, Colin. And I just went up to him and I said, "Hey, this opportunity is kind of right in front of me." He had gone from, I think, Franciscan Health, if I'm not mistaken, to Salesforce a few years back, and he said, "Oh, you'll love it. You'll love it because you get to help more people." And that was the consistent theme that kept coming through. Scott Schuster's another one that I've known that's made the transition from provider to solution partner vendor, and he kind of said the same thing. Jared Johnson, another one. I mean, it just kept coming through as, you can do more, you can give more from that perspective, and use the credibility that you've earned over the years to bring that forward. And I think for anybody that's in this this moment right now that too many are facing in my mind. But there's a lot of great talent out there, and so for those solutions providers, vendors, SaaS companies that are out there looking for the next person to deliver to the healthcare industry, save yourself a step and just go find one of these rock stars that's sitting on the provider side and pull them in, because they're gonna appreciate things more than I think most will that have sort of been in the SaaS space. There's a special thing. There's a special trait that I've known that exists in every healthcare marketer, every healthcare digital leader, is that it's for the greater good. They're not in it just for the money or the presence or the title. It's all about you're connecting people to care that matters in their life at the moment they need it. Full stop. And anybody that believes in that mantra, believes in that mission, is going to be a good employee, because they're gonna be great at collaborating. They're gonna be excellent at problem solving, because they've been doing this for years in these big complex places that have nothing but shortages of resources.
Well, I like that, and I like the fact that certainly those names you mentioned, all luminaries in their own rights, right? And talking to peers who have done it, I think that gives you great firsthand experience, because it is not easy to articulate. It's not something you can watch on YouTube, right, or read in an article
Right.
anywhere. Did you do a formal sort of pro con analysis, or did you do a SWOT analysis like that, or did you just sort of sit back after getting this information and just sort of sit and think on your porch about this? And
Well, it is 2025. So what did I do first? I went to ChatGPT and I laid out the opportunities that I had. And, I've already trained ChatGPT to get to know me. So, inherently, it's going to be able to create some recommendations based on prior conversations I've had with the tool and an understanding of what it is I am, or who I am, and what I've done. And so, for in some instances, yes, there was a bit of a SWOT pro con analysis that was done to evaluate that.
that's awesome. And how, first of all, how progressive of you. And I've heard this story repeated. Like, a lot of people will ask ChatGPT or other AI tools to have it ask you questions and force you to kind of think through it. Like, what are some questions I should consider in making this kind of decision, right? And you could talk. It asks you these questions and those kinds of things. That's pretty cool, I think. So, how progressive of you. One of the things that strikes me about what you said, Chris, and something that I've heard through conversations I've had at various conferences, there is this sort of, well, not say complacency, but familiarity. They like the comfortable. They've been at a provider for a long time. It is, you get used to being there, and so you sometimes don't want to change. But on the
Right.
flip side, I think there is a worry that maybe flipping to the other side, whether that's an agency, whether that is at a solution provider, or even over to the payer side, that somehow you lose something. Like all that seniority, all that work you've done on the provider side somehow gets lost when you move over to a different type of organization. And hearing you talk about it, it sounds like, although that may be a concern for like maybe the title, but as long as you're engaging your passion, I'm hearing you say that that's not really a big deal if it's really engaging you.
Well, and I think it boils down to, like, are you you, or are you the product you represent? And that I think is easily defined by sitting down and having an honest conversation with yourself or ChatGPT or Perplexity, whatever your tool of choice is, and landing on your unique selling proposition. Like, what is it about you that's special? Not the products you've represented or the health system that you worked for, because I mean that's all fine and good, but those things are temporary. What you carry forward is your uniqueness, your capabilities, and your the trustworthiness and persona that you carry with you. No one can take that away. And when I knew that my days were over at Banner, I mean, I had to come to this realization really fast. Like, Banner Chris is what people know. I mean, I was associated with the brand. I talked about the brand all the time. And I had to have a really honest conversation with myself, say, okay, so Banner moves on without me. I move on without Banner. What is it about me and Banner at the moment we were aligned at the same time that struck a chord and made magic happen? And I think it's a combination of factors. It's not just me, it's not just Banner. It's like this collection. But there are unique things that came through that I know that there are people that are better at the job I had than I was and will do a better job. But there's this factor, this sort of non-tangible thing that is special about every single person. And I believe that's the unique selling proposition is what is it about you that helps you stand out? And regardless of what it is you're representing or what you're doing, for the moment that you're in that role, you will do more than it would have done without you.
I like that. Our job title, our job position shouldn't define us, right? Like it's
Right,
a
right.
milestone on our journey, not a destination of the journey, right?
The only one
I
it matters to is HR and pay grading, which, you can still even work around that. So,
What are you doing, Chris, to deliver in these early days for SearchStack? Are you doing anything like, are you mining your network? Are you kind of, educating the company in terms of what the reality is really like working and trying to market and sell into a provider? Like what sort of things are you bringing
yeah.
to the table at SearchStax now?
It's exactly that. So first step was I'm here to educate folks at SearchStax about healthcare. Like it's complex, it's difficult to understand, it's expensive. Why are these things? And I actually did a healthcare 101 lunch and learn like within the first 4 weeks of being at the company, and it was very widely attended. One of the more attended lunch and learns that the marketing team has run in recent memory. And it's because healthcare affects everybody, and everybody has opinion on how it sucks, how it's great, like everything in between. But no one understands why. I mean, it's just like it just is. Why would we have the best healthcare in the wealthiest country on earth? I don't know. I mean, that seems audacious to think that, but in the reality, I mean, it's messy. So just getting an entry level like pedestrian understanding of the who, what, where, when, why, and how was like mission one. Mission two was build a thought leadership platform so that SearchStax has a position, has a say in this space. And that's essentially my role is to be that empathetic voice of industry, but also positioning SearchStax as, hey, we can help solve some pretty big problems. And it's not a high price. It's not a high price of admission to get it done. So in that doing more with less. I think you and I talked about this at a conference a while back on those man on the street with the pink microphone conversations. Doing more with less in healthcare is like the thing everybody's talking about, but it's not a threat, it's a reality. And anytime there's scarcity, that opens up the door for opportunity. And so like just taking advantage of the things that are in front of you and tackling them versus worrying about the bigger things that are going to absorb your brain space and not get things done because you're paralyzed. And so that's kind of thing too, is speaking on behalf of the industry. Hey, I know this is hard and this is a very difficult industry to navigate. And the businesses that are operating in this difficult industry are challenged. So how do you rise out of the challenge? And that's where I think owning search is like such a simple way to think about it, but it's got so much power behind it. And then the third piece is the networking. And so I will be at all the conferences. Now I don't have to hide in the shadows and worry if Banner is going to pay, to send me, or if I was going to have to beg, my vendor partners to, take me on and bring me in so that I could meet all the people and share ideas and learn from everybody. And now I get to do this as a job. So I'll be at ShushMed, I'll be at Sitecore Symposium, I'll be at HCIC. I'll be at HMPS, I'll be at Vive. I mean, all of the big ones. Um, and maybe one day I'll get to go to the Sway Health conference, but we'll see.
Well,
That's too big time for me. I don't
oh,
know.
I think we're gonna make that happen, Chris. You've everyone heard it here. We'll make it happen, and it'll be good. It'll be good to see you on the circuit and reconnect with you there in person. But and it's great that you're able to continue to go to the ones that you've been going to all those years, right? And I appreciate what you said there, that you're helping to bring that perspective about what it's really like inside a provider organization and doing that healthcare 101 at your new company to kind of educate them on why things are the way they are, right? And hopefully
Yep.
allow them to be more efficient and effective at how they're going to market and stuff. So I really like that. But last question for you, Chris, because we could go on for another hour talking about this. I just love talking with you. But, you know, as your time with Banner was ending, as you kind of knew that,
Yeah.
was there a ritual, a song, or something that kept you going, the energy up? Because let's be honest, it's not an easy thing. I've gone through it, you've gone through it, where, that transition is thrust upon you, and it can be quite demoralizing if you let it to be. So, what did you do to keep your energy up and keep that positivity about you?
Well, it's funny because my mom, she was actually saying this the other day to some friends when we had a gathering for Labor Day. Um, I was always a happy person. Like I've always been upbeat. My kids call me geeked. That's the new term for being like all the time happy. Don't get mad, don't get flustered. I mean, I do, but I am human. But for the most part, I took it. I you know I guess for my standards, I feel like I took it pretty well. I think others were like worried, like, are you like you just had this happen? Are you like really not upset about it? And I'm like, well, I mean, it's nothing I did. It happened to me, and I just have to accept it for what it is and move on. And the thing that keeps me motivated and keeps me encouraged is that that I've been fortunate to work in this industry for 26 years now, and I'm surrounded by great people. And at HMPS, this is where it showed up, and this is where I got that really like strong reminder of what I was up against and what I had behind me. And it was the rally cry. I mean, I walked those halls in where were we? Where I was in
Oh,
Florida, in
Florida,
just
Orlando.
outside of Disney World.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember showing up and the questions were, how are you doing? What the heck's Banner thinking came up, and like, what are you going to do next? And at the end of the day, I mean, everybody was just so supportive. I think my LinkedIn post of me announcing my departure from Banner will always be the most engaged post I've ever had on that platform. Thousands of like reactions and comments, and I mean, it was just like overwhelming and I mean emotional. Like I was just like in awe of like, oh wow, this whole group of people took time out of their day to send their support and comment on something that's happening to a lot of people. And so that to me got me through it. And of course, like support from my family, and I wouldn't do this without that. So that goes without saying. But it was just like it feels good when people have your back, and I'm a practitioner of that. I want to be supportive to everybody I have a chance to be supportive of, but that was really like one of the first times that I've had to feel that on my own from the community. And man, they showed up, and that got me right back up and running. And then Dave Matthews concerts, that's another thing. I've got this little, I don't know if you can see it up here, this is my little shadow box of Dave memorabilia. We've got a whole hallway upstairs with posters of shows we've been to. There's another room that has another collection. So music it frees the soul, man. But then the support of people and just chilling with good people, man. And it's we only have so many times around the sun, We got to make the best of them.
I love it. So Dave Matthews and good people together helped you get through it. I
Yeah.
love that. Well, and that's great. And HMPS it is always, I mean, anytime the community gets together, no matter what conference we're at, no matter who's hosting, it's always great to get together with people that you know and like you said, have your back. And so I'm glad that's what you felt at HMPS there in Orlando. What a great event that was. So on that note, Chris, where can people go to connect with you should they have questions or just want some friendly advice from you?
Yeah, so first place, best place is LinkedIn. I post pretty regularly on there, and you can just look up Chris Pace AZ. Easy way to find me. Um,
Awesome.
SearchStax.com is my new, the folks that pay my bills, and so I publish blogs on there now about once a month, and I did put out a industry-facing ebook recently. So if you go to searchstax.com/healthcare, that is kind of my hub, and so I get to put my brain against words on that section of the site, which is fun. And then of course I mentioned all the conferences, but I'm pretty easy to get a hold of, and I never say no to a conversation. So I don't care where, when, what time. I'm generally always around to chat.
I love it. And welcome to the content creation side, Chris. Well, Chris, it's always a pleasure to have you on the program. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be with us and for all the great advice you shared today.
Well, thank you, Colin. Thank you for what you do to advocate for this industry. You are a hero.
Thank you for saying that, Chris. Till the next one. Till the next time.
Chris is always so much fun to talk to. I appreciated his candor about how he had to find new work. And I thought it was awesome how he used a pro and cons list to help him make his final decision. My key takeaway from this conversation is how we should all strive to find work that engages our passion. I know it's hard, but if we can do that, we will create magic. Because when we're fully engaged, that's when special things happen. And hey, if you enjoyed this conversation, please mash that like button and subscribe so you can be notified when we drop more great interviews like this one. I'm Colin Hung. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.